Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the podcast. My name is Kevin DeLong with AVAIRY Solutions, and most of you have seen this series. Been at HTCIA 2017, which is in Anaheim. Now, granted, the conference was now a month ago, but I kind of wanted to release these things a little bit out of a time because I do respect your time throughout the day, making them little shorts as possible with interesting topics and interesting people that have things to say. And this one, I saved one of my favorites for last, and it's nothing against anyone else, but Chet Hosmer, who is of Python Forensics or python-forensics.org, is a great friend of mine. So there's kind of the disclaimer right out front. We shared a booth together at HTCIA, and it's kind of just a little bit of, we started off just having fun and forgot to do the introduction altogether in it, and we just got to kind of flowing in through it. So I apologize for that. And the noise, of course, at the background, we're at the conference right in the hallway outside the exhibit hall, so it's a little bit loud, so I apologize for that. I learned my lesson with different types of mics to take to these types of things, so I know. So anyway, without further ado, here is Chet Hosmer from python-forensics.org.
We are framed up good. Okay. Oh, they're going to heckle. Got hecklers coming.
A glass of water.
All right. I guess what kind of things do you want to cover?
I don't know. I think that, one of the reasons that we kind of teamed up at this conference was so we could do some of these podcasts and really get to the bottom of what people were interested in, what the future looks like, what their focus is on the conference, why did they come to the conference, why did they choose this particular event in order to come to, but also really kind of what differentiates them from everybody else. Not in a negative way, but what do they bring to the table that's really going to advance the field within forensics and investigations?
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you those exact same questions. Those are great questions. So I think Chet Hosmer can answer those because literally his booth is just off camera this direction. Why this particular conference?
Well, I've been coming to this probably for the last 20-some years and have a lot of folks here that are very close friends. But now that my career's changed a little bit where I'm doing all open source stuff and giving everything away and really trying to support law enforcement. So we're better to come to find out what they need. So during the next year or two, the books that I'm developing and writing and the technology that I'm building really will fit what the market needs. What's the demand? Where are they lacking in specific areas of technology? So as you know, I write everything in Python these days, and I do that open source work and put that out to the field so people can use it and have access to it and modify it. So it's not just giving them something they have to use, they can then take it. So I do a lot of training, as you know, I'm doing training here at the conference to get people interested in actually contributing, not only using the technology that I built.
Sure. So you do have a class. You taught one today already.
Taught one today already. Doing another one tomorrow.
Which one was that? What was that about?
That was kind of integrating Python and PowerShell, two very popular scripting environments, together. Kind of show people how you could leverage what you do with PowerShell to be able to extract and triage systems with PowerShell, and then take that output and actually use Python, a little bit more powerful language, in order to post-process that data and come up with some interesting results. And then tomorrow, I'm actually doing a class on showing how to monitor IoT environments using a Raspberry Pi with software written in Python.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, yeah, I mean, so what are some of the ways that some people can get this information that you're not necessarily maybe teaching here, but
probably the best way would be to just go to Amazon and look for me, Chet Hosmer. You'll find all the books that I've written, and that'll get you to my website, python-forensics.org.
Keep talking.
python-forensics.org.
Told you we're close to the booth, right?
Right. Yeah. And actually go take a look at the books that are there, because all the books come with source code. So everything that I've written and everything I talk about in the books, there's examples there that you can just take directly and use. So that's probably the best way. Then go to the website, python-forensics.org, and once you go there, you'll be able to download more scripts and more programs and get some training there as well.
That's awesome. So obviously we're here at HTCIA in Anaheim, California. We kind of forgot to do that lead-in in the beginning. My fault. Completely.
That's okay.
And so where do you see the trends? Because we see all the vendors that are here, and everyone's offering, a little bit of new stuff here, a little new stuff here, based off of what you've seen just in those trends. Kind of where do you see the area going in investigation as it encompasses everything digital?
Well, about 10 years ago, I said that media forensics, in other words, getting post-mortem forensics from hard drives was dead. I was not wrong, just early in that assessment. And I think now we're really starting to see that transition to live investigations, where we're having to collect information faster off many more devices, especially IoT devices in the cloud, where we have to collect data off those. And we have no ability to go image those drives, image those computers. But instead, we have to be able to get information as it's happening. That gives us two advantages. Number one, now we can actually potentially prevent or preempt or disrupt attacks in environments. Versus just respond to them after they've happened. And the second thing that it gives us is the way to provide early indications and warning of suspicious activity. Because attacks typically have multiple steps associated with them. We want to catch them as early in that cycle as we can, so we can potentially game the adversary. If we can kind of detect that behavior ahead of time, then we can actually try to understand and assess the capabilities of those that are attacking us, and also be able to put things in place to provide decoys or traps in order to be able to catch them as they're doing it.
That's very cool.
So I think that's where the marketplace is going, is more active cyber defense versus just post-mortem forensics. I see that as a trend.
Absolutely agree with that. So along with those, what kind of new challenges are, say, the investigators you think going to see? We're starting to see some stuff now come in, which you've never thought you'd be examining ever, like a light bulb maybe, or
a drone or whatever. Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. So where do you see this all going? Just, I mean, obviously that has a lot to do with what you had just mentioned with the active attacks, but some of the devices we may have to examine, and things we have to deal with like AI, what are the challenges there?
I think the issues are going to be still today, the biggest challenge we're going to face is encryption. And the fact that the data that we had for a long time be able to just access and recover now is going to be encrypted. So we're going to have to do more active kind of investigations so that we can catch the data. Data that we look at is in basically three states. We tend to focus on trying to recover encrypted data when it's at rest. So the phone is there, it's dead, we've got to go try to get the information off the phone and recover that. But there's two better ways to do it. When the data is in motion, or when the data is in use, because it's more vulnerable for us to be able to gather that information while it's happening and while it's in motion or while it's in use to be able to collect what it is. If we try to do it after the fact and strong encryption was used, it's a very, very challenging problem. So I see a shift in our focus from this post-mortem data at rest extraction to that more active collection of data while it's happening.
Right. And that kind of leads me to my next question with, now obviously, why we were here at HTCIA conference, that tragedy in Las Vegas just happened. We woke up this morning and literally found out about it at the time of this recording. How do you think modern forensics is going to help, maybe not necessarily maybe prevent in the future, but also gain information as to what happened? Putting those pieces together.
I think that, forensics, when you think about this, it's all about behavior, right? And being able to detect aberrant behavior, whether it's the behavior of individuals that are acting in a very disturbing way, right? Coming up to the point where they're actually going to be doing something potentially, catastrophic.
Sure.
And if we can catch them in that process, then maybe we can help. Maybe we can prevent or at least limit the damage that's going to be done in those areas. And the issue is to be able to be really monitoring and understanding the behaviors that are happening. But instead of doing behavioral science, as has always been, even again in a post-mortem sense, we need to be doing that behavioral science as things are unfolding. We certainly have enough technology, cameras and other technologies out there that can help us identify those behaviors that are suspicious and potentially dangerous. No, I think that the only thing I'd like to say is that we need more people involved. And it's everybody's responsibility to be involved and get people involved. And getting young people involved in this particular field because it's needed. There's a lot of other fields that are demanding our talent, but this is an area where We need more people involved. We need to get them involved in understanding the problems that we face, and get some of the brightest minds here to help us. 'Cause I'm not going to be around forever, so
What are you talking about? Of course you are.
so we need other people.
Right, and it's great because this particular conference, there's college kids
Yes.
roaming around, and they're learning and they're seeing what the vendors are doing. And we've had so many just at your booth alone, kind of. How can Python do this? How can it do this? How can we incorporate this? Lots of inquiring minds. So it is exciting to see that
Exactly.
at that level, because then they can obviously, if that catches their interest, they can further themselves to that.
Yeah, and I think that the open source nature of Python really gives people access to this versus looking at a closed forensic system, which would be difficult to modify or augment or improve, where the open source technologies, not only that I develop, but other companies are doing as well, gain an on-ramp for students and folks that want to actually, bring their ideas to bear in that open source fashion.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Chet, thank you very much. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, good talking to you.